All right, I guess it's 2 o'clock in Poland. Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining my session. I know how difficult it is to make a choice, so thank you so much for being here. Let me know if you can see and hear me well in the chat. That's fine. Yes, you can keep your cameras off, on, as you feel. Okay. Yeah, everything is fine then. All right, then I believe we are ready to start. Okay, perfect. Thank you very much. Okay, I'm greeting you here from Ukraine. I do hope that next year we will be able to meet face to face. And first of all, before I start the session, I would like to express great thanks to all the organizing committee of IATEFL Poland for making it happen, even in these difficult times, for bringing us all together so that we can learn from each other and share our experience and help to make our teachers' lives better. And of course, thank you to you, dear participants, for being here. So what we're going to talk about today is the power of engagement, right? How to engage students, especially if you're teaching online. I wonder if you keep teaching online or if you returned to face-to-face classes. So please feel free to use the chat box. I will be asking you a lot today, so I would like to make it more or less real so that we can communicate. So please do use the chat box and let me know this answer to the first question. Do you teach face-to-face or do you teach online? That would be nice to know and to hear from you. Okay, 1.5 years online. All right, online. Okay, good. At school, thank you. All right, because some of the activities and tools that I prepared for today can actually work both online and offline, but of course some of them work better in this or that context. So I'm glad that we have people from different contexts and we can discuss those parts. Okay, I'll be sharing activities and tools today. So if there are still any questions after we finish the session, or if we don't have enough time for questions and answer session, I will share my contact details at the end of the session. I'm very open to communication, so feel free to contact if there are any questions or problems. So a couple words about myself before we start. I'm an English teacher. I work primarily with upper intermediate and advanced students, but I have worked with both primary students and exam preparation classes, and now I'm delighted that I have this privilege to choose the students that I feel most comfortable working with due to teaching online. I'm a teacher trainer. I design courses for teachers trying to make each other's lives easier, and I deliver webinar sessions and workshops and at different conferences and forums. That's what we're doing today. So our agenda for today, we are going to quickly define what engagement actually is, and so that we know how to bring it into the classroom. We need to know how it works and what people who are engaged in the process, what they feel. And as I said, I will share some of the activities for different stages of the lessons and some of the tools that you can use easily and that never fail and always help you out during the classes. So let's start with this engagement thing. Again, I would like you to use our chat box and let me know, when do you feel most engaged, or where, or doing what do you feel most engaged? All right, what makes you feel engaged? What processes? I wonder what you think. What activities probably engage you the most, you as teachers or learners? When the topic interests me. Yeah, thank you, Agnieszka. Nice to see you here, by the way. Yeah, songs. All right, that sounds good. Any other ideas? Yeah, something that you really like, right? Something that you enjoy, something that is interesting for you. Yeah, for sure. I would like to introduce a picture over here, which pretty much sums up what engagement is. Yes, this is a portrait made by a photographer, Phil Toledano, and he was trying to capture the emotion of a gamer. And well, without any doubt, gamers are, well, definitely engaged in what they are doing, right? Now, I'm not going to talk about gamification today, but let's see what traits, we can take for ourselves and to bring them into our classes. So if you are a gamer, you will notice there are some characteristics and what the person feels and what exactly makes them feel engaged. But even if you are as far from gaming as I am, you will notice that he has this sense of urgency. He feels that what he's doing really matters. We can see this intense concentration on whatever he's doing over there in his game, and definitely a deep focus on tackling the problem, right? So also, if we take a look at his face and his facial expressions, we can see the crinkle of the eyes up and around the mouth, and this is actually the sign of optimism. And the eyebrows up, this is a sign of surprise, right? And this is what psychologists call that, what a person feels when they are on the verge of this epic win. So what is an epic win and how we can use it in our classroom? Well, this is basically some sort of a feeling when you feel extraordinarily positive about something that you're doing. It's something that you never thought it's possible until you actually achieved it. And the result is you are so shocked to discover that you were capable of doing that the most important thing is you want more. And what we need and what we want, of course, is for our students to want more of our classes, more of the activities that we design for them, and to receive better outcomes. Of course, this is like the main thing. So what they need to do is they need to see that, yes, it's challenging, but at the same time, it's doable. And when they are all interested, yes, then the magic happens, right? So it's kind of easier said than done. And teachers from different countries all across the world, they have been complaining that it's hard to keep students engaged, right? Especially while teaching online. But well, let's figure out if we can have some solution to this problem, right? And how we can bring some of these character traits right into the session. So I told you that I'm going to share some activities and tools, and I differentiated, pointed out basically 3 main stages kind of the lesson, right? Whether your key goal is to teach vocab or grammar or functional language, right? It always depends on the goal of your lesson, what you want your students' outcomes to be at the end of the class. But in most cases, that would be understanding the material, the vocabulary, the grammar that you're presenting. Then we as teachers, we need to develop noticing of the structures of this vocab, that is like recognizing them while reading or listening tasks, right? And of course, productive skills when they need to use this unit, whether either grammar or vocabulary. So for the understanding basically part, for the vocabulary, I would like to discuss these 2 activities. They are called Where's the Logic and Vocab Swap. The first one is the logic game, right? I often use it, and well, I think it's best used at the beginning of the class when we have this leading stage of the lesson and we want to attract our students' attention. So what you can do, you can show them different pictures that are related to each other or not related to each other. It's up to you. You can show short unmuted videos at the same time on the same slide, or just simply words. If you don't have enough time to bring the pictures, that's fine. You can just put the words, and then they, in their pairs or in breakout rooms, they can discuss how this words, pictures, or videos are connected, related to each other, and what they think the topic of the class is going to be. By the way, looking at these pictures, let me know what you think the topic of the class with my students was based on these pictures. Apart from the pictures, I offered them a list of vocabulary that they can use while making their deductions. Yes, because at the level that I'm teaching, they are more or less fluent, of course, at this level. So I often introduce like recommended vocab that they can use. And this way I can also see whether they know these words or I need to teach them afterwards. So that's kind of nice to bring a list of the vocabulary that you're going to work with later. Japan, yeah, thank you for your idea. Yeah, I guess this is like the most obvious thing, yes, here. Like Asia, Japan, yeah, that's exactly what my students said. Well, actually, we were talking about, well, if you know the name of this type of food over here, these are spring rolls, and that would be the keyword, because yeah, the topic was seasons, and we had a text about spring and what changes there are in spring, like in the weather and what happens in the nature. So yeah, that was the topic of spring. But again, they used the list of vocab that I gave them, and this way I could see what they are familiar with and what I still need to introduce, not to, you know, be repetitive during the class, because maybe they already know the vocabulary. The next game, and this is probably my favorite game, but this best works offline. So if you have face-to-face classes, then this game is just for you. I do love it, and it works best with upper intermediate and advanced students, but it can be used as well with intermediate. I think you can start with intermediate level students for sure. So what they do here, there are a few stages of this game. The first one would be individual practice. So you need to prepare cards or the number of words corresponding to the number of students you have in your classroom. That is 10 students, 10 words, or 10 cards with words. For upper intermediate and high level students, you can introduce only the keyword on the card. And at this first stage, individual stage, they need to find the definition and some examples in a dictionary as they work on their own. For lower level students, you can provide the explanation of this word and the examples on the card. So each student receives one card with one word and explanation, or they need to find the explanation. This way they become experts in their words. Here you might walk around and check if the students understand the word correctly, or an idiom or phrasal verb. It's up to the topic of the lesson, of course, and to the game, to the aims. The second stage is mingling. Now they come up to each other, and as you can see here on this slide, they ask a person, do you know this word? If the person knows, that's fine. They move on and look for another victim. If the person does not know the word, well, this is their glory time. They can explain the words, they can provide some examples and everything. And then, well, the second student, he already understands the word, and they swap their papers with cards. Now, let's say this man, he knows what kerfuffle means, and he is an expert in this one. And he comes up to another student and keeps asking, do you know what it is? And now he explains this newly explained word for him, right? So this way they become experts in more and more and more words. At the beginning of this game, there will be a lot of swapping and explanation, but you can see that as soon as they kind of stop swapping, it means that they don't explain the words to each other because their partners know them. Well, then you can finish this game and you can continue, you can proceed and do some extension tasks, how else they can work with this vocabulary, creating sentences, stories, and so on and so forth. Or this way, they're ready, let's say, for the reading or the listening, where these words are going to be encountered, right? So I really like this game because it definitely engages everyone. Everybody is speaking at the same time, basically, right? Everybody is sharing their knowledge. And of course, you're there to monitor and help them out if they have any difficulties. So I believe that this is one of the best ones in terms of excluding the teacher from here. Right now, not you explain the meaning of the words and students just write down, but they actively participate in this process. Okay, the next stage that we talked about was like developing noticing, right? So as soon as they are familiar with the vocabulary, they can do the reading or the listening task, right? And in most cases, they need to grasp the main idea, or of course, there are different patterns depending on the aim, right? Why the students are reading the text. And one of the always working activities that definitely never fails and 100% engages everybody, because sometimes when they do the listening, you know, their mind can drift away and they can be thinking about their own things or something, or when they are reading, they also can be, you know, losing this train of thought sometimes. And we want to, again, include them as much as possible, engage them as much as possible so that they actively work, you know, in every activity that we present. And here we can do this dictogloss. It works both online and offline. If it is online, students work in breakout rooms. So whether they have, let's say, the listening or the reading to cover, or let's say they need to watch the video, in order for them to work extensively and pay more attention to it, and for you to make sure that everybody is working, everybody should receive their own task and to be responsible for something. What happens here is that they become responsible for a particular part of speech. If you don't have a big group and your students need to work in pairs, let's say, so you can have experts in, let's say, one student A is responsible for verbs and student B is responsible for nouns. So as they listen to the recording, watch the video or read the text, they need to note down the most important verbs or nouns, depending on what their responsibility is. If you have a larger group and you have, let's say, 3-4 students in a small group, in a breakout room, then you can assign also adjectives, adverbs, even prepositions, right? So they listen, they note it down. The next stage is they need to cooperate. They need to reconstruct the text based on their notes, right? And very often it happens that students, for example, they are experts, let's say, in verbs, right? They wrote down all the verbs and they missed out, of course, the other information. So now that they work together, they need to recollect, the information, why this word was used over there, okay? And how to build this sentence. And the third stage, of course, would be to reproduce the text, to write it down, or orally to present it. Yes, it works best if you have, for example, 4 small short texts to cover, like jigsaw reading in the classroom, and you don't have enough time for all the students to read all the texts, right? So in most cases, they read their task and the text, and then they exchange the information, right? Like some gap fields or something. But again, like to bring it up a notch, right? So what they can do, not just read it or not just listen to it, but also, to take notes. And this way they actually pay attention to vocabulary. They use these chunks actively while reproducing the text. Just the other day, my students and I, we had a recording. We listened to an interview about global warming, ice caps melting, and its tremendous impact on polar bears. Well, the topic is not easy by itself, right? And of course, to reproduce like this interview, it won't be that easy. But when they did this activity, they wrote down so many words and they managed to reproduce this text in so much detail that I was like really impressed and glad with their results. So yeah, try it out. The next one over here, the next stage would be to use these items, to use this vocabulary or grammar or functional language that you need. And I believe, well, it can be done, of course, through speaking and reproductive skills, all right, speaking or writing, basically. So here I do love to use Padlet board, and there are so many different ways how to use Padlet. Well, there can be a separate webinar based about using Padlet in the classroom, right? But well, what I like to use it, how I like to use it is when they need to make some comments or add some sentences or create sentences. Let's say we often ask our students to make sentences with whatever vocab, and they of course they can put it in the chat, but it looks messy a little bit. It's not structured, it's not organized. I will show you an example that we of a Padlet board that we created together with my students. Their task was to make deductions using this then in the end, at the end of the sentence, right? So we had these sentences in our outcomes book, and they had to react to it somehow in order to sound natural. So what I did, I used a Padlet board, shared a link with my students, leaving only this sentences and some pictures, GIFs. They're dancing there on the website as they access it. And their task was to add comments to these sentences over here using this then word. Okay, so there was a similar exercise in the book, but in most cases when they just sit like this all the time looking at their books, especially while teaching them online, it's not really engaging, right? But there again, it's everybody is engaged because everybody is definitely working, and you can see their progress. Because if they're working again online, you can't, you just see the screen. The thing that you see is their head, so you can't see their exercise books, whether they're actually writing or not, or just pretending to be writing. And here if they're doing something like this, you can definitely follow and you can see who posted what, for example, if you don't choose this anonymous type of thing, right? And it's so easily done. Like for you, it's just 1 minute, you know, to open this board to post the phrases or the task for them. As well, this can be used for, well, various contexts, of course, throughout the unit, whatever topic you have. And the next thing that I wanted to talk about is the secret door. I'm going to show you how it works. I would like to show you my browser, and if you are interested, if you like this resource, I will send you the link. So it works great when students can work in pairs, in breakout rooms, or in a face-to-face classroom using their gadgets, their phones. So what happens here is as soon as they click this door, the secret door, they will find themselves in an absolutely new place. They don't know where they are at because this is generated by Google Maps. And this is best for their speaking activity, or for speaking skills. I mean, when they can boost the vocabulary that they covered in the class, for, let's say, describing their neighborhoods or describing cities or some descriptive adjectives, or let's say the structure there is, there are, is perfect. Or again, models of deduction, this might be this place, and so on and so forth. So what they need to do is to describe this place to their partner, and their partner needs to guess, for example, where they are. Okay, I think it's better to see it one time than to hear about it many times. Let me share my screen with you in a second, and I will show you how it works. So this is our secret door. As soon as we knock, click, it's always a surprise, you know, you never know where you're going to find yourself. Okay, just a second, I will probably reload the page. It's been waiting for too long. Okay, here we are. An absolute surprise, you know. I have covered this, I have done this activity with my students so many different times, and every time I find myself in. So you can see that students can walk here. They can walk around, they can see the objects, they can describe this object, and it's absolutely amazing for, let's say, there is the raw structure, right? Even if your students are lower level, they will still be able to reproduce a couple of sentences. I can see, and they can describe what they can see. They can describe the numbers and so on and so forth. Okay, they can describe the atmosphere, the furniture, you know, again, using all the descriptive adjectives apart from beautiful. My students, you know, we always had this trouble of using beautiful and getting rid of using the word beautiful and substitute with something more interesting, right? So here for sure they can do that. If you don't like this place, you can click take me somewhere else, and you will be in another place. Okay, let's get out of this tunnel and let's see where we are. Okay, so again, the students can, you know, walk around, they can click buttons, and they will be able to see where they are. If they can't figure out where they are, there is this button from Google Maps, and they will see where they are. Okay, and this makes it so, you know, interesting from different points, because they will be able to know more about the world. So you can see that here we're in Liechtenstein. That's amazing. All right, so not all students probably know where things are, you know, in the world. So yes, this can broaden their horizons, not only from the point of view of English, and that's what I really like it for. So yeah, you can click take me somewhere else as many times as you want, and every time you will be in a new place. In most cases, then they can go out into the street, and then in the street they might see some symbols like here, and again they can start using these models of deduction, assuming where they are at, right? So I hope you liked this one, and if you're interested, I will share the link to this website. Okay, let's go back to the presentation. Okay, give me a second. Here we were. All right, moving forward. Now speaking of tools and technology that we can use to engage our learners. And here it is very important not to be overwhelmed ourselves as teachers, because there are so many options and everybody's talking about using technology, but it's so easy to get lost, you know, because we want to use all the newbies, you know, but at the same time, it's not about the number or variety of tools, our apps that we're using or websites that we're using with our students, but rather about your feeling feeling comfortable using them. And the main thing is not to use them because it's trendy or everybody's doing that, or we're afraid that we're not, you know, entertaining enough in the class because we're teachers, we're not entertainers. The main point is for the technology to help you achieve some goals, right? Whether teaching vocabulary or describing something or collaborating or anything, or presenting information or collecting responses or anything. It should always have this goal, you know, why you're using that. And I guess that we don't need, you know, endless hundreds, tens, you know, of apps. I believe that there are some basic ones that you can always use, that you know perfectly how to use them, you never struggle, and this way you won't have this pressure that something won't work, you know, in the classroom or something. Now let's have a little guess the app quiz or game. Okay, I would like you to use the chat. I will show you some logos, and I wonder if you know what this app stands for. So let me know what this logo represents, what app or website or technology tool it is. Okay, let's start with the easy ones. I'm more than sure you know them. Oops. Let's go here. So what do these symbols, what do this logo stand for? Let me know in the chat. Quizlet, of course it is. Yay, Quizlet. And what is the second one, by the way? I put them together on purpose, and in a minute I will show you why. Quizlet, yeah, for sure. Everybody is using Quizlet, right? Our students are using Quizlet. Emojis, yeah, well, kind of. Speaking of Quizlets, by the way, I really do wonder, because we had some sort of debate with the teachers where I'm working. So I wonder, do you create Quizlets on your own and send the link to your students, or do they create Quizlets on their own? Who creates Quizlets, teacher or students? Let me know in the chat, because we had a very, you know, emotional discussion. A teacher, okay, a teacher. Students create, I only check. All right, good, thank you very much for answering. Yeah, okay, well, yeah, here we also kind of, our opinions, you know, split. And I believe that for lower level students, and especially if we talk about ages, right? If they're children or teenagers, the teacher definitely should provide Quizlet links for the students. This way, the chances, you know, that they will open them and actually work with them are much higher. But if they're higher level students, I believe that students should be responsible for creating Quizlets, because as they do so, they will definitely be able to learn this vocabulary as well, right? With my higher level, students, what we do during the class, they always keep this app open, and they have a list, well, in the right column, yeah, they have a list of vocabulary, they add the new words, and in this right list, they either, well, provide definition, but we try not to go to this definition thing, but rather examples of how they can be used with a gap, okay? This way it will be better for them to work and to figure out and to make your brain, you know, work as they cover this Quizlet cards. So for sure, Quizlet. And the second one is Bamboozle. And why I put it here, because just recently Bamboozle has added a feature of adding Quizlet cards into the Bamboozle game. Okay, do you know what Bamboozle is, and do you use it or not? Let me know in the chat. Yes, no, yes, no, 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 no. Okay, good, that I'm happy that you can take something from this session, and I would like to show you how it works. Again, I will show you the website. Where we are here. Okay, just like this. Okay, so this is basically the website of Bamboozle. You can use it for free and use the ready-made games, or it costs, I even wrote the number just to let you know, it costs around $8, which would be like, what, 6-7 euros per month, which is not too much, but well, you can use the free version as well. So here you just type the topic that you want, whether either grammatical or vocabulary or whatever, and then you click any game. For example, you need to choose, okay, let's take the first one. If you use the ready-made, please do check the sentences. It's just like on Kahoot. There are sometimes mistakes, but you can edit it. You can click the edit button and you can easily edit it. Okay, so let's imagine that we looked them through and we liked it. So you see, well, basically fill in the gaps, but now it looks like a game, you know, so they will be more engaged. We hit play, we choose the number of teams we want. let's say with power-ups, classic. Okay, now they can see the styles, they can play in teams, and the team chooses the number, let's say whatever, they give the answer, we check it is correct, for example. Now they win the points. All right, the other team chooses. Okay, they already win the points. There are some power-ups like just win points or lose points, which makes it more, again, engaging, you know, because there is the sense of surprise, and we talked about it today, right? That they need to have this urge, you know. Then, okay, again, and so on and so forth. So let's imagine the correct answer, and so it goes. So basically the same thing, opening the brackets, but now it's like another level. Now, we talked about Quizlet, right? So how to use Quizlet and why I put them together. Let me go back to my slide. Just recently, yeah, as I said, they added a fantastic feature, but it is available in a paid version that is like this €6 whatever per month. So you can see what, like to create a game, you don't even need to enter, you know, the definitions or anything. You just click import, you click, you paste the link from Quizlets, let's say. Let's imagine your students created Quizlets or you created Quizlets. You paste a link over here, import the game, and you receive a ready-made game instantaneously, all right? So they will have this either definition or a sentence with a gap. And then on a flip part, for example, they will see the definition of the keyword or grammatical item, whatever. So if your students already use Quizlet and you know how to use Quizlet, now you can use Bamboozle. And this way you can have new games, okay? And probably they will like this freshness, all right? Because in Quizlets, yes, we play Quizlets live, matching, asteroids games, right? For sure. But well, this is also kind of nice, especially when they can work in teams. Okay, let's move forward. And the next set over here. Do you know what this logo stands for? If you do, please let me know in the chat. Okay, that's a good one. Thank you. Russell Stannard, if you attended his session today, yes, he was talking about word walls today a lot. So I'm not going to demonstrate the website today. I think most of you heard of that, but of course I will tell you what it is. And two other ones. No ideas? I'm sure you do know. Don't be shy. Okay, let me reveal the secret. Okay. So they are Peer Deck, Class Time, and Word Wall. As I said again today, it's not about the number of technology that you're using, the apps, I mean, that you're using. It's mostly about, you know, the stages of the lesson and the understanding why you're using that. Now, let's start with the last one, Word Wall, right? Today, well, probably you heard about Word Wall today, and maybe you already use it. If you don't, again, I would like to definitely pay your attention to this one. If you don't use it right now, I'm sure it will be your favorite one, you know, because it's so easy to be used, and there are so many ready-made activities already, and it works fantastically well with both vocab and grammar. There are a lot of tasks for speaking, like spin the wheel or random cards with questions, let's say. There are gap fill activities. There are matching activities. There is anything that you literally want. It is free to use if you use ready-made games, or you can create up to 5 of your own ones. But if you want to create more, for example, I need more because I have many groups, many students, and I always want to create the games that I want with the sentences and words that I need, for example, then, but it's one of the cheapest ones, to be honest with you. It is, okay, I'm not sure what it is in zloty, but I will say that in euros, that would be like €3, I think, okay? So it is a little bit more than $3, so I believe that it would be like €3 around like that per month. So yeah, okay, so it's not too bad, you know. Well, it's pretty much affordable, and it's definitely worth it because it saves so much time, and it's very easy to navigate and understand how it works. Super easy, one of the easiest ones that are available, to be honest with you. So definitely check this one out. I think it will be the next favorite after Kahoot, because we're all pretty much, you know, tired of Kahoot. So Word Wall is amazing for this reason. The next one, if we take a look at this one, Class Time, I always use it for assessment or for, let's say, tests or revision or anything. Again, I will show you the browser so that you can see how it works. If you already use it, that's great. If you don't, I would like to share with you. So class time, right? So there is the library where you can create your own sessions, you can create your own tests. And the good thing is that you can either have multiple choice questions or again, gap fill. You can even attach a link or to, let's say, the recording if they need to listen to something and then choose. There is an open answer question. So there are different sorts of questions, all right? And let's say, like, let's open this one, for example. So you can see there are different tasks. Let's say the open task when they need to answer the question, they need to transform the sentence. Over here, it was like that. Then what do we have? There is a multiple choice question. Then they needed to choose another part of speech, right? To alter the word to provide a correct part of speech and so on and so forth. As for the teacher, what is amazing here, as your students are doing the test, you can see everything that is going on. Like this is a completed session, but you can see the number of questions, for example, the list of your students. And as they progress, you will be able to see, okay, student, for example, 1 covered 4 questions, while student B is already on question number 9. Or you can see that the student is stuck, you can address them, you can talk to them, you can help them out if they need any help. And if they make mistakes, there will be a red cross, okay? And then you can always click on it, and you can see what the right answer or what the wrong answer was and why they made a mistake, and you can easily give feedback. You can print the report with results later if you need, for example, for the classroom, for the class register, for instance, if you need to, you know, move the marks, the grades and everything. So the best thing about it is that the system checks everything automatically, because while you were creating the task, of course, you chose the right answer, right? So you just sitting and watching and enjoying. So there is no more, you know, grading papers by yourself and spending so much of your precious time on that. And the last one, like from the end, you kind of covered them in a different way, is Pear Deck. And it is for creating slides, basically for presentations. So if you prepare presentations for your students, whether online or offline, but you want to make it more interactive, you want to receive some feedback, for example, or you want, let's say there is a matching activity, or there is an open question, for example, right? And you don't want them to shout all together at the same time, but you definitely want everybody to be working and not waiting for their turn to answer, which is very important, especially when we have large groups of students, right? So here on this peer deck activity, you share a link with them and you will be able to monitor the process and the answers that they are leaving. I use it a lot for matching, okay? For example, if there is a list of vocabulary, there are some pictures, or again, sentences, they can draw making lines, or they can type in the words, okay? And this way, the teacher sees every single answer separately, and they can, again, they can process the information, the teacher, and can see what is difficult for the students, what is not, and everything is done simultaneously. I guess we have a couple minutes left, so we can try it out for you to see how it works. Okay, let me share it with you. Okay, where do we have it? Here. If you create slides on Google Docs, then, well, this is just perfect for you, because there will be the button to generate this, to use Pear Deck slides. Pear Deck already has some templates that you can use, and in a second you will be able to experience it on your own. All right, I'm going to send a link here on Zoom to the chat. Okay, all participants, you can follow the link and you will be able to see the slides. You will be able either to draw, put some smileys. You don't have to give, you know, large responses, just for you to try out and to see how it actually works, for you to feel that it's not difficult to bring it, but it definitely serves a great aim. And afterwards, I will share the teacher's version, what I see on the screen, so that you can see how you can monitor what your students are doing. Okay, so follow the link. I will see the people joining us, and I will start the class so that you are able to check things out and try it for yourself. You can use your laptops, your phones, anything. All right, I'm gonna start it. Okay, there you will see the button, add my answer. if you want to write something or draw something, you click add my answer and you will be able to draw, write, and do anything you want with this slide. Anything that has been requested there. Okay, I already see some people typing responses. Okay. So association with online teaching, right? I guess this is the one that you're answering right now. Okay. As you do that, I will share what I see being a teacher. Okay, so you see your slide and you see that people are leaving their responses over there. So you can, what do? You click show responses, and this way you will be able to see what people are writing, okay, what students are writing. This way you can brainstorm ideas, let's say, yeah, you can ask your students to bring some vocab, for instance, about something, yeah, and you will be able to see what they already know, what they're familiar with. And right now we hide responses. Let's go to the next slide over here. This one is for drawing, you know, dragging, and it's very easily used. Of course, this is a simple one just to get, you know, to give you the sense of how it works. But for the students, they might have other questions here. You can include anything you want. Any questions that you want. And the students, they would do what? They drag, okay? They put a symbol of how they are feeling, or they leave the answer in the right field. I tried to bring different templates over here for you to see that different layouts are possible to draw, to write, to brainstorm ideas, okay, just for you to see. Again, over here, if we click hide, show responses, you will see where the students are putting their dots, for example, right? Okay, and this way you will be able to see what's going on. And if you need any further feedback, let's say. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Over here we have circle how you're feeling, okay? Of course, you can edit the task over here and you can put anything you want, like true or false, and leave only two emojis, the smiley face and the sad face, for example. True or false sentence can be easily introduced over here. Let's see responses. Okay, we can see a dot, we can see somebody was circling. Yes, so everybody uses the color that they want, you know, and the way how they want to use it. We go to the next one. Drawing or type. A great lesson. What do you think a great lesson includes, by the way, right? If you're using this peer deck right now, you can just type, draw, write anything you want. What do you think a great lesson includes? And if you're not using the peer deck, you can leave your answers in the chat if you feel like. What do you think a great lesson includes? Okay. Let's see what the people are answering. Let's imagine these are our students. Okay, they're checking it out, testing. All right, interesting topics. Thank you. Yeah, so you can see that you can type as well as draw. All right, so your students can also choose. Engagement. Oh, yeah, for sure. Okay. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Let's see how it works over there. This is the last one. All right, these are like the reflecting on the session, right? You can do the same thing for reflecting on the lesson, like the exit ticket activity, right? After the lesson, they can introduce what they learned, what they need to learn at home, for example, right? And this way you will be able to collect feedback. All right, again, if we click show the answers, you will see that the people are doing something over here. All right, I will not click end button here. So if you feel like you can keep working with this one. Okay, just a second. I will go back to my presentation. And if you're still on Pear Deck, you can keep going. I'm not shutting it down yet. Okay, because I really do wonder what you think about some of those questions. All right, moving forward. So you can see that it can be easily introduced, you know, into your slides. So if you're using the slides, you can every once in a while, you know, you can include some of these slides, and this way you can collect more ideas, feedback, and information from the students. All right, well, thus we're coming to the end. 45 minutes, of course, is not enough, to talk about everything about engagement, but I do believe and I do hope that you took at least something from our today's session today, and that you found something useful for yourself. So basically, what we learned at the beginning of the class, that of the session, that engagement is what? It's being involved, being happy about what you're doing, something that is challenging, but at the same time you're shocked that you can actually do this, that you're capable of doing this. Yes, this is the sense of when your students have deep focus on what they are doing and they have intense concentration. So learning these points, right, we can structure and design our lesson plans based on that, so that we see that they have deep focus, that they have intense concentration, and that everybody is working and feeling good about it, right? This is where we started today. When you mentioned that this is something you're interested in, this is something you love, right? Well, so basically what we need is to have a clear understanding of what it takes to be engaged. Yes, what our students need to feel. Now we know that. Some ready-made activities that are easy for you to use, you don't need much time to prepare it, and some of your favorite tools, some of the tools that can cater for the goals of your lesson and that can help you reach those goals. And well, again, do it just for good mood, right? Okay, so thank you very much for being here at this session. I loved having you here, and I hope that you found it useful. Just in case you have any other further questions, or just you wish to collaborate or communicate, here are my contact details. I will be happy to speak with everybody of you here. Okay, thank you very much for being here. Thanks a lot. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you for your thank yous. Thank you. Thank you very much. I'm wishing everybody then a nice, fruitful rest of this conference. And yeah, take your lessons up a notch. Thank you very much. Yeah, see you next year. Hope to see you next year in Poland, in one of your lovely cities, one of your fantastic cities. Thank you so much.
Mogę już?